Hey, let's get some out real quick. The reason why Trump is attacking nurses and doctors and saying they're thieves and criminals is because Trump wants to demonize them. Trump knows a lot of doctors and nurses are going to die behind COVID-19. That's just a fact. That's not for debate. That's a fact. A lot of doctors and nurses are going to die of this. I've done videos before talking about how a lot of them are going to do their job. My dad thinks that, I was telling him about how New Orleans Fire Department is telling them, if you're sick, come to work. Come to work. And nurses are being told that if they get caught wearing a mask, that they'll be fired. My dad's like, well, they can't do that. I'm like, dude, you don't get it. They're doing it. And he's like, well, that's a lawsuit. You really don't get it. The courts aren't open. There's no lawsuits. Like right now, they could not evict me from here right now because they're not serving that, and the courts are mostly suspended. They're talking about letting people out of jails. I don't know how long this will go on. So your lawsuit could be 2 years down the line. Guess what? We still got bills to pay. Okay? So, my dad, he wants to make the logic of lawsuits. Ain't nobody trying to hear that. Ain't nobody trying to hear that, man. A lot of lawyers wouldn't go to work to present the case even if the courts were open. You understand? Trump knows a lot of nurses and doctors are going to die of this. And it's going to come out that this could have been prevented. Trump probably will get away with this one too. But a lot of these people died and didn't have to die. So what Trump is doing to get out ahead of it is something he's been doing from day one, which is to dehumanize his enemies. Like when he called the Hispanics rapists, all of them are rapists. When he came out and made the comment about calling Christianity today a leftist rag. This is all demonization. He's not doing it out of any kind of logical argument. He doesn't need a logical argument. We've gotten this far, he didn't have a logic. Why would he do it now? So he's calling them thieves, the doctors. See, Trump can't use politics on doctors and nurses. He can't do it. They're the true heroes in this. They're the true tragic heroes. I don't want to say that lightly because they're heroes. They're going to die. They're going to die for the cause of capitalism. These doctors have risked their lives, and the president was going to just say, well, we're going to open everything back up. So all the people, the doctors and nurses have been working on to save lives. What was the point if you're just going to reopen the country? The doctors have been saying from day one, they're working, staying at work. They have to stay at home. And, it really proves the futility of fighting for America. I mean, if Trump had done that. But just the fact that he was even talking about it shows you the futility. They want to make Americans into heroes, but over and over you see the government does things that make stuff worse. So now we have to die because of their hubris or their arrogance or their belligerence when none of us benefit from these wars. None of us benefit from the arrogance. None of us benefit from attacking China or attacking North Korea or attacking Iran. None of that benefits us. So now we have to die, children have to die because of American arrogance. That's just an example. Those are just examples of American arrogance that Trump's been engaging in since he's been elected president. But I think that's why you have that. I see these nurses and doctors talking about they need masks and this, that, and the other. I think Trump knows that either A, he can't. Maybe we're at the point now to where he can't provide. I thought about that too. Doomsday, guys. Doomsday. Maybe this thing is going to be worse than we thought. And see, look, these guys look at mathematics. They're looking at the spread. They're looking at the time, the exponential value, all that good stuff, the RO, all that good stuff. And maybe they feel like, hey, this thing may go on another 12 months, and we can't give New York all of what they asked for. Maybe we're at that point now. It's like with the reparations. You get to the point to where people are like, we're not going to do it. Well, yeah, because they can't do it. It isn't because they don't want to or you niggas. No, it's maybe they really can't do it. There's things that people have said to me years ago that they cannot do now. Even if they wanted to give me, they couldn't. That could be that could be what's happening, is that we're watching the shift from to where the white shoe boys know that we've got to let these people die. I don't believe Trump wants people in New York to die. I don't think it's they should die depopulation. I don't think so. I think that Trump doesn't care about those states because like we're at the point now to where I guess Americans think that's legitimate. That if you don't support Trump, you deserve to die. I guess that's just the political realm we're in now, to where Republicans think that's totally moral and ethical to just kill off a bunch of entire city, entire state to put them in jeopardy because they're not, goose stepping along with Trump. But like I said, I just really believe that Trump knows that a lot of doctors are going to die. It's like a lady said on Majority Report. It's the police unions. You know what I mean? It's not the white supremacy. It's the police union. Tough guys. Those are the people who, when they turn on Trump, it's gonna hurt him in a different way. It isn't your guys running around with sheets on or Confederate flags running around the Kentucky State House with rifles. That's not real, because you've got a lot of white folks that see that and are like, that's not legitimate. That's not. I mean, you just do. You white folks are there just like, yo, that's not legitimate. I'm not saying that they're marching for black people. I'm not saying that they're gonna come to my aid if I get, but I'm saying that that's not legitimacy. It's like a man running around with no clothes on. Even if he could legally do it, people aren't gonna look at that and say that's illegitimate. I was reading something earlier about on DW where they're talking about the AfD, the right-wing party in Germany wants to split. And they were talking about how, the violent part of it is causing them to lose votes. And I was just thinking about how I hope they don't split. I hope that they keep being confused. See, that's my greatest fear, is that like with America, my fear is that like with Germany and parts of Europe, that white supremacy will become legitimate, that white supremacists will put on suits and ties, and that's my greatest fear. Is you know what I mean? Like we fear the violence. I mean, don't get it twisted. We fear the violence. We know the violence is real, but it's kind of like that's there, as well as the fact that a lot of folks don't respect that. You know that, and I know that. A lot of folks don't respect that stuff. A lot of folks trying to pay their rent or their mortgage and keep the lights on and keep a full tank of gas in their car and keep their kids fed, maybe put a little money aside at the end of the month and maybe go out to eat once every couple of weeks. That's how a lot of folks are, man. A lot of folks ain't trying to do that shit, hear that shit. And I just, that's my hope that, because see, as long as they stay radical and the left is talking about legitimate grievances and stuff, I think that over time they lose all permanence. It's kind of like Hoover in the 60s talking about how blacks don't want to go to school and blacks don't want education. Like even in 65, late 60s, he was still talking like that. I think when you do that, even back then, you start to lose legitimacy. Not to say LBJ and all them and Nixon were good guys, but I just think that when you do that, you just like, fuck everybody. I think you lose. Like I keep telling you about police departments, that when police engage in reckless behavior, police departments push for the racist, reckless stuff, but it's not breaking the law, well, nobody's following them. Like, I mean, it's still bad, but no one's going to follow them that way. They're not, like to me, as I've gotten older, I learned we're dealing with a changing world, and you want to get your statement out. You want to, do that. To me, places like West Virginia and other places, certain areas in those states, they've lost permanence. They've lost legitimacy. And maybe that's the point. They've gone along with Trump in the culture war. And the sad fact is their citizens are gonna suffer from that, from this ideological bullshit. Their citizens will suffer because they want to get back. See, the whole election Donald Trump has been about payback. Payback, and really, it's almost like white people know society's changing, and with Trump, they're trying to buy time. I mean, look at like the stuff they're happy about. They're happy when Trump, remember when Trump talked about we're going to get rid of the rules on clean water. We're going to like get rid of the rules on, the energy reducing toilets and stuff. Like, that's what they're fighting for. It's all regression. And that's all Trump really is fighting for, is regressive policy. But that doesn't benefit white people. That doesn't benefit white people or rednecks or nothing. Like that doesn't, because if you're in a country and you think like that, you probably are living in a shack or something with an old toilet and stuff anyway. And the thing is, like, peace, y'all.